Hello guys, again you are welcome to my channel Literature Classes. This is Abhilasha. Guys, today I am going to discuss a literary term, that is theatre of absurd. I'll discuss in this video what is theatre of absurd, when it was coined, and what are the important plays written by the famous playwrights involved in this literary genre, literary terminology. So, without doing a further delay, let's move right into the topic. So guys, theatre of absurd. The term theatre of absurd was first coined by Martin Islin. It was first coined by Martin Islin in a play titled Theatre of Absurd. He wrote a play, Theatre of Absurd, and in the same play he has coined this term. And it was the plays of theatre of absurd was written by European writers basically, and it was also applied by a French writer who wrote a play, Ubu Roy or Ubu the King. It was written by a French writer named Alfred Zéry, and he wrote this play in 1896. In 1896, this play is written by Alfred Zéry, and in the same play he has applied this term, the theatre of absurd. But basically the theatre of absurd came out after World War II, or you can say during the World War II, the absurd plays was written. So the term, Martin Islin coined this term, and the famous playwright Albert Camus. The famous playwright Albert Camus wrote a play. I'm just erasing it. The famous playwright Albert Camus wrote a play, Myth of Sisyphus. The Myth of Sisyphus. It is written by Albert Camus, and in the play, Albert Camus says that human situation is meaningless. Human situation is as meaningless and absurd. Basically, he is trying to justify the term absurd. Basically, what is the meaning of absurd? If I talk about what is the meaning of absurd, so absurd means when there is no meaning of anything. When we are doing anything, when we are watching anything, and that is meaningless, that doesn't have any purpose, and that is totally, there will be the negative result, or we can say there will be no result. That is called absurd. Absurd was the term absurd was inspired by a movement called existentialism. And also by a movement called surrealism. From these two movements, this term was inspired. I mean, after these two, this theatre of absurd came into existence. It was French writer wrote the play in 1896, and after that play there are some writers who wrote the play in the same terminology, theatre of absurd. When it was came in 1961, that time Islin has introduced only 4 writers. The first one was Ignacio, and the second one was Samuel Beckett. The third one was Jean Genet, and the fourth one was Arthur Edmove. These are the 4 playwrights Islin introduced in 1961. Later, these playwrights also contributed in this term. Theatre of absurd is defined by Islam. He says absurd is that which has not purpose or goal or objective. Means, what is absurd? Absurd is that which doesn't have any purpose, goal or objective. When a play, or we can say any literary work that is written and it doesn't reflect any purpose, any goal or objective, so that comes under the category of theatre of absurd. If you have gone through a play by Samuel Beckett called Waiting for Godo, I am writing here. Okay. I am writing here Waiting for Godo. This is a play written by Samuel Beckett. In this play, Samuel Beckett says that nothing happens, nobody goes, nobody comes. I am just writing this definition as so that you can not forget that. Nothing happens. Nobody comes. And nobody goes. It's awful. It is a speech, it is a line given by Samuel Beckett in the play. Actually, what happens, I am just summarizing it within 2 or 3 lines. In the play, Samuel Beckett has written this play in 2 acts. There are 2 acts, and it is the subtitle of the play is The Comedy in 2 Acts. So, in the Waiting for Godo, we see there are 4 to 5 characters like Lucky, Pozo, Estragon, and a boy, and also we can say Godo. Oh, sorry, the spelling is written wrong. It is Godo. It is Godo. G-O-D-O-T. It is Godo. So, there are characters, and what they are doing, they are waiting for a person that is known as Godo. This is a character who never appears on the scene, but the main characters, or we can say every characters of the play is waiting for Godo. They are expecting that Godo will come and they will meet to the person. When the act 1 opens, that time also it ends with the waiting of Godo, and in the second act also Godo never appears, as it is told by a boy who comes at the end of the first act, and he says that Godo is not coming today. Okay, and in the second act as well, Godo never appears in the scene. So that means, and one more thing I want to tell you. When this play opens, we see leafless tree. We see a dungeon, like a ditch where they were playing, where the characters were playing. They were waiting for Godo, and they are just doing some enjoyment by playing or by doing the work which ends with nothingness. So, and in the whole play, the gist is waiting for Godo. They are waiting for Godo, and it never appears on the scene. So that means this is a play of theatre of absurd. Basically, theatre of absurd is what? When anything results in nothing. When anything results in nothing, that is Waiting for Godo. Actually, it came during the Second World War. So, because of World War, the people were too much frustrated, they were disappointed. That's why they were writing these types of plays. So there are some participants who have written the plays of theatre of absurd. Franz Kafka wrote a play, The Trial and the Metamorphosis. There are two plays written by Franz Kafka, The Trial and the Metamorphosis. Jean-Paul Sartre, then Albert Camus wrote The Myth of Sisyphus. Ionesco wrote a work, The Bard of Soprano, and then Samuel Beckett wrote Waiting for Godo. Jean Genet, then Harold Pinter wrote a work, Birthday Party. Then Edward Albee, Tom Stoppard wrote a play, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and it is a part of William Shakespeare's Hamlet. Then Arthur Edmund. These are the playwrights have written the plays of theatre of absurd. So, okay, I summarized all the things related to theatre of absurd when it was coined. It was coined by Martin Esslin in the play Theatre of Absurd. There are two lines I told you about to explain what is theatre of absurd. You can understand by this line, nothing happens, nobody goes, nobody comes. It's awful. And these are the participants who have written theatre of absurd plays. So this is all about theatre of absurd. I hope you would like this video. That's it for this video. I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, keep studying and have fun with literature. Thank you.